it like cancels out. Like Uno reverse card. It cancels out, you know? It's like -2 times -2 equals +4, you know? I can't believe this, but literally an hour before I went live, PragerU put out a brand new video. And the second I saw it, the second my Discord let me know of this video's existence, I knew that I had to stay up all night and stream in the morning to cover this video. Because I wasn't going to let this one get covered by anyone else first, all right? This is hour 1. First streamer to cover this PragerU video, okay? This is brand new shit, all right? We got in like we were waiting in line for a midnight release of a video game, all right? That's how quick we were to this shit. All right, look at this. PragerU, a short history of slavery. 6.3k likes to 156 dislikes. Isn't that sad? And of course, 34,000 views in 4 hours. We're not exactly hour 1. I don't know who Russian Plus is, but they're verified and have almost 200,000 subs, so it's depressing a YouTuber with that much reach watches, PragerU, but not much you can do about that. PragerU inflates their own numbers, guarantee they're botting their shit, but with all that said, let's get into it. Oh, and there's a surprise that's about to occur in a moment that won't... It's not really a surprise, it's more of like, of course they would.
And now...
I told you that there would be a thing at the beginning of this video that would make you think, of course. Oh, of course they would. Of course they would. You see, this isn't the first slavery video that PragerU has pumped out, but they had a bald white guy presenting the topic. Here, though, they've got a black woman doing it, which means... this automatically shields PragerU from any accusations of racism. They can't be racist. Simple as that. I mean, they had a black woman present the little seminar. How could it be racist? Let's go.
For a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people. It did not start.
All right. I want to make this very clear. Whether you like PragerU and agree with their politics or not, all right, PragerU is objectively a propaganda outlet. Now, propaganda is a word that has some negative connotations, but it's not in and of itself a bad thing, right? Propaganda for a good movement or a good ideology would obviously be good. Propaganda for a bad, wrong ideology would obviously be bad. And PragerU advocates for a pretty bad ideology. So what's happening here is, and I don't want anyone to mistake it, this is PragerU trying to politically weaponize the topic of slavery.
Start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then. It did not start in 1419.
You know what I wonder? You know what I really wonder? I wonder if she's going to try to bring up that the slaves were bought by white colonists from black slavers in Africa. You know she is.
92 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact,
he didn't.
When the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors, the Caribs. The Caribs enslaved the Taino and, on occasion, served them for dinner. Slavery existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The word slave actually comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe. Millions of them, all white by the way, were captured and enslaved by Muslims in the 9th century.
I feel like every time I watch a Candace Owens video, she is trying to make arguments as to why I should be allowed to say the N-word as a white dude. That's what it feels like every time I watch a Candace Owens video. That's what she's trying to do. You understand that, right? She's trying to justify the racism of the white people that watch PragerU. I mean, it's as simple as that. Let's not pretend it's not anything else. Hold on. You're telling me you've got PragerU's featuring a black woman saying, yes, white people have been enslaved as well. Like, it's supposed to make white people feel like, It's like I'm just as oppressed as black people. Look where white people are now. We were enslaved once, you know. Why aren't black people where we are now? That's the idea that she's trying to give off here.
Slavery existed when the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean and most of Europe from the 1st through the 5th centuries. Slavery existed when Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BC.
Okay.
It was so common that Aristotle simply considered it natural. The slave master model was just how the world operated in the great philosopher's day.
I'm sorry. You guys ever seen the movie Get Out? You guys ever see that movie? I'll leave it at that.
Slavery existed during the time of the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago, as far back as we can go in
Hey, can't clip me and cancel me for something I never say.
human history. We find slavery. As renowned historian John Steele Gordon notes from time immemorial, slaves were a major item of commerce. As much as a third of the population of the ancient world was enslaved.
Okay.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Here it
White
comes.
people were the first to formally put an end to slavery.
I love this. I've heard this excuse from, like, conservatives in debates all the time. Well, you see, listen, white people may have enslaved black people in America, but white people also set black people free. And my response to that is, if I am driving down the street and I run over your dog on purpose, but your dog survives, so I take your dog to the vet, and, you know, the vet fixes the dog up and then hands you a big old vet bill that you have to pay. But then I say, fuck you, and don't help you pay the vet bill for the dog that I ran over. That is the equivalent of the argument here, okay? Saying white people were the first to formally put an end to slavery is like the guy who ran over the person's dog saying, well, I drove your dog to the vet. I mean, I may have run it over and I may be leaving you with a fucking vet bill, but go fuck yourself. I'll kill your dog. I'll kill your dog. Yeah, fuck you.
Britain was the first country in the history of the world to pass a Slavery Abolition Act. They were quickly followed by France, who in 1848 abolished slavery in her many colonies. Then, of course, came the 13th Amendment in the United States Constitution.
Hey, Candace, what happened shortly before the abolition of slavery? It was sort of like, it's something you might have learned about in history class if you paid attention. They talked about it a lot, especially in any civics classes or anything. There was a big event that happened right before the abolition of slavery. Hey, chat, does anyone here know the answer? Raise your hand. Hypers, if you know the answer. Raise your hand, and I'll call on all of you. It'll be like a classroom. The Civil War. Good shit, geeky lesbian. Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't get to take credit for ending slavery in 1865 when it took the country splitting in half and the entire South waging war on the North in a fucking rebellion to try to preserve slavery. And oh, I know you conservatives love to argue the Civil War wasn't just about slavery, but it was mostly about slavery. If you argue against this, you are simply wrong. Yeah, I wonder if she'll bring up the fact that, half the country wanted to fight to keep it there with a war.
After centuries of human slavery, white men led the world in putting an end to the abhorrent practice.
Oh my god! Dude! It's literally white savior. Oh my god. This is masturbation material for white people that want to feel oppressed, okay? This is masturbation material for white people that want to feel oppressed, okay? If you're a white person and you want to, feel bad for yourself and feel, oppressed, watch a Candace Owens video and just stroke your dick off, okay? Because I feel like she's basically fondling the balls, too, here. She's really trying to make me feel so good about myself for being part of the race that ended slavery. Thank you, Candace. Oh, I feel so good about myself. Oh. I don't know about you guys, but it feels good to be part of the race that ended slavery after being one of the most notorious and infamous practicers of it in all of human history.
That includes the 300,000 Union soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War.
For starters, the reason why they were overwhelmingly white is because most black people were in the South. You see, before slavery was abolished in the North, there wasn't much reason for it to be there in the first place. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of the northern states didn't like slavery and they wanted to be free states was because they literally didn't need it or want it. The southern states thought they needed it, and they really wanted it. Northern states didn't really give a fuck about it because their industry and what they did up in the north just didn't, slave labor just wasn't good for it. Not to mention the reason why, even though black people were allowed to serve in the Union's army, that there weren't as many was because, obviously, there weren't as many black people in the North because most of the black people in the country were slaves in the South, where slavery was being done, not in the North, where slavery wasn't being done, There weren't that many black people in the North at the time. Also, I wonder how she's going to paint, if even bringing them up, the Confederate soldiers. I'm really curious. These brave rebels standing up for states' rights. I really wonder how she's going to talk about them, if at all.
Now, am I saying that this makes white people better than anyone else?
Yes.
Of course not. My purpose here is to simply tell the truth, and the truth is that human history is complicated.
Something sits wrong with me about listening to someone who repeatedly feels the need to remind me that they're telling the truth. You know what I mean? I get a little suspicious when you feel the need to bring it up so often.
No one, regardless of skin color, stands guiltless. Yet today we are never told to consider the murderous Persian Empire or the cannibalism of indigenous tribes of North and South America or the heinous actions under the imperialistic Muslim, Chinese, Mongol, or Japanese empires, to name.
I'm sorry, are the left in favor of these things? Also, are you fucking stupid? You realize that tribes engaging in cannibalistic slavery in South America 400 years ago, do you maybe understand why that might be a little bit less modern day politically prescient than a significant portion of our country here in America, because that's where we are. Candace Owens is American, I'm American. This is an American politics channel for the most part. That's what we're talking about here. That when a fairly significant number of your country's population is there because of the brutal practice of slavery.
Just a few. Instead, we're told that slavery is a white phenomenon. And like all persistent lies.
By who and when? I don't think I've even heard the Black Hammer people say slavery is a white thing. Like, of course, they hate white people, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were to say it, but, like, not only have I never heard this, but in my fairly extensive coverage of, like, unironic, like, black, anti-white, like, racists that want to have, like, a black ethno-state, not even them have said this in any of the shit I've covered from them, and I've covered a good amount of shit from them. This is something really common in conservative content, especially the type PragerU makes, because PragerU knows that, like, their audience isn't very open-minded to hearing the arguments from people that don't agree with them. Like, you have to understand, when I was in the position of the average PragerU viewer, when I was younger, when I was 16, when I was going down the alt-right rabbit hole, you know how I consumed content? I turned on the newest Andy Worski video, the newest Chris Ray Gun video, the newest Sargon video occasionally. I wasn't a big Sargon guy. Or, and I hate to admit this, the newest No Bullshit video, and a variety of other content creators. And I would play video games while I let the videos just autoplay in the fucking algorithm. And after a couple hours, I've watched a dozen Andy Worski videos or a dozen No Bullshit videos. You know, and that's how I do things. And that's how the audience of PragerU does things. They're not going out of their way to hear the left-wing responses to a PragerU video. They're never going to hear these arguments that I'm making right now. The vast majority of them won't. The ones who do will be the people that come to my channel to mass dislike and leave hate comments and drop, like, racial slurs in the comments and shit. Or maybe to spam in chat. It's sad when you think about it, how peacefully and yet destructively oblivious the audience of this content is. It's severely depressing.
This lie spawns a bunch of other lies. On social media, I come across extraordinary depictions about how Africans lived like pharaohs before Europeans came and laid waste to their paradise. The truth is that Africans were sold into slavery by other Black Africans, and in many cases...
What's that? What's that? Is that me not missing? Is that me being physically incapable of missing? I don't know. I can't see it, chat. Is that me being physically incapable of fucking missing? Is that what just happened? How did I know? This is the... You know what? You want to know why I know? Because this is the number one argument used by, like, anti-BLM, anti-progressive types. Hey, did you guys know? Listen, slavery wasn't that bad, okay? Because, hear me out. Those black slaves were sold to the white colonists by other black people. So it like cancels out. Like Uno reverse card. It cancels out, you know? It's like -2 times -2 equals +4, you know? It cancels out. It's simple math, guys.
Sold for items as trivial as gin and mirrors. Whites didn't go into the interior and round up the natives. They waited on the coast for their black partners to bring them black bodies. The stark reality is that our...
Candace Owens, you understand my name is Alex Haley, right? You understand I'm literally named after the guy who wrote Roots, okay? You understand I literally, because of my name, have read Roots a dozen times. I know this, okay? Anybody who knows anything about the history of slavery knows this. Like, yeah, no shit. Slavery's been a thing throughout history, practiced by tons of cultures and tons of civilizations over a long period of time. And guess what? Black people in Africa also did slavery. And yeah, those black slavers in Africa were happy to sell some of their slaves over to white colonists in exchange for all sorts of shit. And you know what those white colonists ended up doing? Later on, going on to fuck up everything in those regions. Listen, South Africa is a good example of this, okay? Let's just say there's some pretty damn good examples of white people rolling up in Africa and fucking shit up, okay? Making things really bad for the people living there.
Lives had very little value to our ancestors. Here's the third thing you need to know. If you think slavery is a relic of the past, you're wrong. There are some 700,000 slaves in Africa today, right now.
True.
That's the lowest estimate that I could find. Other sources say there are many more. For context, that's...
Oh my god. Wait, is she actually going to try to do like Africa's doing slavery? It's actually black people are worse because white people aren't doing slavery anymore, but it's actually... Oh my god, are you fucking serious? Is she going to try to argue that black people need to let go of slavery and black people are the real racists? This can't be real. This actually can't be real. Of course, that's what she's arguing. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's almost
damn, 400 viewers.
As many slaves as were ever brought to the United States. Child soldiers.
Also, I want to let all of you know right now, just in case you weren't aware, slavery is also happening in Eastern Europe and all over the world. Slavery is happening in Asia. Slavery is happening in Europe. Well, mostly like Eastern Europe, not so much like... Sex slavery is a thing there. There's sex slavery and like human trafficking, but like... Yeah, no, slavery is being done all over the world. It may be illegal under the UN law, but it's still happening. Are you unironically trying to... And there are white people practicing slavery right now. Don't try to make the argument that white people ended slavery. They didn't. Slavery hasn't ended.
Human trafficking, forced labor. These are the conditions that currently exist within the same sub-Saharan region where the transatlantic slave trade originated.
Wow.
African bodies are being sold today like they were sold then. And no, they are not being purchased by any country of white men. In fact, slavery, by any traditional definition,
Here
is
it comes.
exclusively practiced today within non-white countries.
I can't believe it. I actually can't believe this video is what it is. I am astonished. I am blown away by this video. She actually did it. Oh my god. Dude, this shit would have been in my whack-off playlist on YouTube when I was 16 years old, okay? Because 16-year-old edgy gamer bro anti-SJW me would have loved to sit back and just watch a black woman tell me how oppressed I am and how great I am because I'm white and and my race ended slavery. Like that, and how much better white people are apparently than black people, because black people in Africa still practice slavery. So, in fact, the black people are the bad people, because they're the ones who did the slavery originally. I mean, oh my god. Candace, dick fit in your... No, never mind. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't make comments like that about another political figure. All right. If you think about it, technically me and Candace Owens are kind of like peers, you know? It's dicey, okay?
But we hear almost nothing about that. Just like we hear nothing about how slavery was universal until good people in Europe and America ended it 2 centuries ago. Why? Because...
Let's hear why she thinks slavery was abolished by Europe and America.
Because our so-called leaders, black and white, wouldn't profit from it. Black victimhood is nothing if not profitable.
What the fuck did I just see? Wait, is she actually arguing that were it profitable, like Hollywood elites or whatever this is supposed to be? I mean, we've got an actor holding an Oscar, we've got some like distinguished looking people, that they would be racist and in favor of slavery if it was profitable for them? Oh my god, yeah. The echoes are emanating from this. Yeah, this is basically the JQ. For those of you guys that don't know, the Jewish question is a Nazi conspiracy theory positing that there is a group of wealthy elites who, in Hollywood, in government, in banking, etc., powerful rich people, and that they control everything, and that they've got a very progressive agenda. And those people that believers the JQ say run everything are the Jews. This is basically the JQ, just not outright saying it's the Jews. Oh, it's the rich and powerful elites, those ivory tower coastal elite liberals. Yeah, Candace, you got one more adjective to add on to that list? One more little adjective to add onto that list to those people? This is bizarre.
It elects politics.
Also, the reason why we abolished slavery is because, as Vosh said in his debate with Charlie Kirk, whiny bitches like us progressives, us left-wing activists, have spent centuries freaking the fuck out, engaging in extreme political measures in order to push what at the time was an absurdly radical idea that maybe black people shouldn't be property. And then it was the crazy idea that maybe black people should be considered a whole person and not just like a fraction of a person, because that was the thing too. And that maybe black people should be allowed to vote. And that maybe, as time goes on, black people should be allowed to use the same restrooms and go to the same schools and use the same water fountains as white people. And then maybe black people should also be allowed to buy a home wherever they want, if they've got the money for it. And that maybe, if we go here today, and I skipped a few really racist systemic periods of law and whatnot there. I don't remember all of them. And that maybe, now today, we ought to do some things to help amend the problems that in our society that keep black people down, such as the criminal justice system. And it's inarguably racial bias against black people and in favor of white people. People like us bitching and whining about shit like this is how slavery got abolished. I thought that was a really good point that Vosh made in his debate with Charlie Kirk. I really liked that. Yeah, whiny bitches like us are why things are as good as they are now.
Politicians and funds racial grievance groups. And if Black Americans began to view themselves as partners...
Oh, and I should say, when I say whiny bitches like us, most of them, well, I don't know, maybe most, I don't fucking know. A lot of them, maybe the majority of them, not white like me. A lot of them, Black people fighting for their rights. Don't want to accidentally give off that white savior impression that Candace Owens is already giving us plenty of with this video.
In the American dream, if we embraced the patriotic spirit that holds all men are created equal, the patriotic spirit that...
Candace, you do know in the amendment that abolished slavery, it literally says, except in the case of punishment, where it's literally prisoners in our prison system are literally legal slaves. That's why a lot of prisons have them work jobs that pay cents an hour. It literally says slavery is not allowed except in the case of punishment. Here in America, you know that, right? It literally says that.
Is our real heritage. And the race hustlers would soon be out of business.
The race hustlers?
I'm Candace Owens.
What the fuck is a race hustler? What? If someone ever said the word race hustler to me in public, I think I'd be going to jail that day. That's all I'm going to say. Because, like, fuck. I'd cringe so hard, I feel like I need to do everyone in the vicinity that heard that a favor. Jesus. What the fuck is a race hustler? She never explained what that word meant. Is that like a word that means something to conservatives? Is that like a thing that they know of? Is that like a buzzword that they're using now?
Owens, author of Blackout for Prager University.
I'm telling you, dude. All right? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Let's get out in real life. Hold on. Let me go ahead and show you the evidence that Candace Owens is a grifter. It's a really, really good article. You guys should check it out. Every receipt proving Candace Owens is a con artist who is following the money. There's a good few examples of this. So, for example, obviously she's shilling the Freedom Phone, which is fucking hysterical. Not one person in my family will ever touch the COVID-19 vaccine. What the fuck? Oh, wants to take me to the tweet? No, I don't care. That is the decision that we have made unabashedly as a family. Can I get the blue thing away? Medical freedom is an individual right that should never be infringed upon, and any person who thinks otherwise has no place in our government. As an employer, I can assure you that no employee at my company will ever be pressured to put any substance in their body. So, like doing the anti-vaxxer shit. Oh, Candace Owens trying to bully someone. Where's the really good shit? Where is it? Oh, this is shit that doesn't matter. Ah, here it is. Lawsuit with the NAACP. Owens now calls the NAACP one of the worst groups for black people, even though the organization helped her win a racial discrimination lawsuit. In 2007, she accused some white boys of racially harassing and threatening to kill her. Owens claimed the boys were the son of then Stamford Mayor Donnell Mulley, Connecticut's former governor. Because of the NAACP, Owens' family received a settlement of $37,000 from Stamford Public Schools. Anti-Trump website in May 2018, just before Candace Owens was a large right-wing political figure, right before she blew up. Ironic. BuzzFeed reported that Candace Owens was the CEO of an anti-Trump liberal-leaning website called Degree 180. Owens wrote in 2015 that it was good news that... Are you kidding me? Fuck off. I hate websites that do that shit. That it was good news that the Republican Tea Party will eventually die off peacefully in their sleep, we hope. Degree 180 also talked about Trump's penis size and him being a racist with an immigrant wife. Interesting. Seems like she follows the money, huh? Going on Fox News, another lawsuit, where apparently she... Here's a good one. Yeah. Apparently, Owens rented a $3,500 apartment, lived there for 6 months rent-free, then claimed she'd gotten toxic mold sickness and threatened to sue her landlord to avoid paying rent. Listen, fuck landlords and all. They're cunts a lot of the time, but this is pretty shitty. Social autopsy. Here's the one. I remember this got dunked on by every anti-SJW content creator at the time. This, I believe, is what made her switch over in 2016. In the spring of 2016, Owens launched an anti-cyberbullying website called Social Autopsy. She reportedly started a Kickstarter campaign to raise $75K. She sure likes money she doesn't have to work for. CTpost.com described the site as a searchable database of offensive speech found on social media. Owens wanted to expose people who anonymously harassed others online, which is known as doxing, and is a huge no-no among conservatives. She claims she got pushback from the left, which is allegedly one of the sparks that lit her conservative fire, which is bullshit, because the right was the people who were shitting on her, because she was a fucking SJW at the time. Oh my god, I hate you. Can we pause this so that it stops playing? While Owens portrays herself as a victim of leftist persecution, the fact is that the initial backlash against Social Autopsy came mostly from the cultural libertarian opposition to the authoritarian left. YouTube video bloggers Matt Jarbo, or Mundane Matt, and Chris Maldonado, Chris Raygun, I know that guy, both strong critics of social justice warriors, were among the first to battle the project as a terrible idea. Blast the project. Another early negative report came from none other than Breitbart. It was written by Alam Bukhari, a frequent co-author of the not yet disgraced Milo Yiannopoulos, and a leading foe of the SJW left in digital and tech culture, the site wrote. This would make sense because it is clearly people on the right or MAGA crazies who don't want to be exposed for their hatred. You can hear Owens doing the voiceover for the Social Autopsy video down here. Let's see how bizarre this is to hear from a conservative commentator. Just really quick. Watch this really fast.
The human race has never been more connected.
Just enjoy this.
It takes a nanosecond, a mere push of a button to share our ideas, opinions, and emotions across the world instantly. But for every cat meme your best friend tweets at you, or for every I miss you comment your grandma leaves on your Facebook wall, there are literally thousands of instances of hate speech being circulated online. Because when communication happens through a screen, and when moments are experienced through a lens, a terrifying extraction takes place. The age of technology and social media has slowly disintegrated individual accountability.
Oh my god.
The consequences of which are devastating.
Oh, there's Chris Chan.
Rebecca Sedgwick, the 6th grader, committed suicide last week. Authorities say she suffered nearly a...
That's right, chat. Candace Owens made a extremely left-wing anti-hate speech doxing website. A website made to fucking store and collect the docs of people, right-wingers on the internet, who engage in hate speech. Listen, going back and looking at Candace Owens' history, it does not take long. It doesn't take that much research. It's so obvious she's a grifter. It's so sad, too. I want you to all know, she did that video. That video we just watched, she did that video, and she doesn't believe a word she said. I want that all to sit with you for a moment. Like, how sad is it that she's there and is just spouting shit she doesn't even agree with? And she's taking the money, and she has no regard for all of the harm it's causing. She knows it's all lies. She knows it's all bullshit. We know this isn't what she believes in. There is the most evidence you could possibly imagine that she is a grifter, more so than any content creator ever. If you want to accuse any content creator of being a grifter, left or right, Candace Owens is number one. Her history is well documented. Her flip-flopping is well documented. We know why she does what she does. We know she's in it for the money. All right? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I upload, go live, or put out a new video or anything like that. And of course, comment down below to help the video out in the algorithm. In fact, I want you to tell me, what's your favorite color? That's what I'm curious about. Tell me what your favorite color is. And if your favorite color is the same as mine, I'll heart your comment. You know, nice little game we can play. And of course, you can follow my social media through the link in the description down below as well. I've got a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course a fan Discord where we play games together and watch videos and stuff like that. It's just a cool community for people who are fans of me. So if you feel like it, feel free to join. And of course, finally, if you've got extra money for it and you don't need it for anything else, you can always support me financially by donating, subscribing, or gifting subs on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or on YouTube chat by hitting the join button, become a channel member, or super chatting, and of course on Twitch by subbing, gifting subs, or prime subbing for free. And then of course you can always pledge me on Patreon or donate directly through Streamlabs. We're actually saving up right now for a full VR setup so I can do VR streams. I'm trying to get the Valve Index, so once we hit $200 today, any extra donations beyond that point all get put away in my fund for saving up for the VR headset. And I plan to do some really cool VR streams, especially around Halloween with some scary VR games. It's going to be super fun. So if you want to contribute to that and you got the money for it, any donations are appreciated. But no matter how you support my videos, thank you so much for watching and have a good one.